Hi, this is Bob for Bob's Movie Reviews. If you'd like to be notified whenever we put up a new video or whenever our DVD videos come out, go ahead and click the subscribe button. But today is your DVD giveaway video, and if you stick around to the end, you'll have a chance at winning a free DVD. All the rules will be in the description, and I hope you enjoy. Today I will be bringing you a spoiler review of the movie Cabin in the Woods. And just in case there's any confusion, this video will contain spoilers. I also have a regular Blu-ray review up. If you would like to see that, there will be a link in the description. So Cabin in the Woods is basically a horror comedy, and it never goes too far in either direction. There's subtle jokes throughout and horror throughout. So the movie opens as a group of teens. Well, they're college students, so I guess they could be in their early 20s or so. They're about to go to a cabin. Now, this part I didn't really understand because it's like his cousins, but later on in the movie it doesn't make sense. So they're all going up there in a RV, and on the way up there they stop for gas, and there's this creepy guy there to scare them. And he's really weird, and so they're like, whatever, and they just go to the cabin, and then you see a bird hit a force field, or something like that, an invisible grid that you can't go through. So they go on, and it's like through a tunnel, and they make it to the cabin. Now the cabin from the outside looks really, really small, and they get inside, and it's like bigger than my house. So that was kind of strange. So they go in, and they pick their rooms, and the one guy finds this really weird painting and takes it down, and he finds a two-way mirror. And the other girl starts undressing in the other room, and he stops her, and they switch rooms. And so from there, they kind of go to back to the control room, where you see these guys are controlling things. They can control the temperature. They can see you and hear you, and they can also actually send you messages, kind of, that you don't, like subliminal messages. And so then they go to the lake, and they come back, and they're just kind of partying, and this door flies open in the middle of the dining room area, I guess, or the kitchen. And they're like, oh, maybe the wind blew it up. And the one guy's like, how does that make any sense? There's no way the wind could blow a door, like, on the floor up and open. So they're like, oh, let's go check it out. And they're kind of being drugged this whole time too, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because they say like everything has to be their own choice, and that this is going on in countries all around the world, and that it's very important that it's done. And so they go down there, and they find there's all these artifacts, necklace, dress, pictures, jewelry box, diary, just probably thousands of items down there. You really don't see them very well because it's dark, but there's just tons and tons of stuff down there. And they kind of start playing with it, and then the one girl starts reading the diary about this family that is obsessed with pain and torture, and so she reads it, and then zombies start coming out of the ground. And so then the one guy and his girlfriend decide to go out into the woods, and so they go out there, and basically the girl gets killed by the zombies. He makes it back, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And the one guy who's like high the whole time, he sees everything, because he's not, his drugs are like counteracting the other drugs or something. I'm not sure exactly what the deal was with that. So they all kind of hold up in the cabin. And this is another part that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, because they said they had to make all their own decisions, but the kind of the main guy, he's like, well, let's all stick together. And then they're like, oh, no, they can't stick together. So he walks by this vent, and you see some gas come out. And then he's like, oh, let's all split up. So were the drugs making him change his mind, or was he just changing his mind? It doesn't really make sense. And if all this is going on in the cabin, and say it's like every year or whatever, like, how did his cousin get it? And they're kind of following him, and they've already drugged him before they even went, so they know they're going there. it seems like the whole thing is set up, but then how does his cousin get involved? That the part just confused me a lot. And so then they go, and let's see what happens. The stoner guy, you think gets killed, but he doesn't. And then they all get in the other three that are left, the two guys and the girl, get in the RV and they try to go out the tunnel. And they're like, oh no, the tunnel's not blown out. The control guys, that is. Like, the tunnel hasn't blown out, so it's like this huge thing because they're going to get out, so they like fix it and the tunnel blows up. And they're just sitting there staring at this hole and they're like, oh, how are we going to get across? So of course they got a dirt bike and the main guy's like, I'll just jump it. And there's no incline, it just goes straight across with a hole in the middle. And I mean, obviously if you're going to make it across, you're going to need some sort of incline to get you up over. And so they show him and they're like, don't hold back. He's like, oh, I won't. And if I crash, I'll just stumble to help. I'll get somebody over here. And so he's like, he goes back on the dirt bike and he gets a little speed up and you just see him like fly. He's like, and then he hits the invisible barrier, force field, whatever you want to call it. And he's like, and he just like falls down the hole for forever. You don't ever see him hit the bottom. And then the girl's like, you know what? The girl's basically realizing that the stoner guy was right, and that they're trapped there. People are manipulating them. They're there for whatever they want them for, and there's not a whole lot they can do. The other guy that's left, he's like, oh, let's just drive the other way. Let's go through the woods. Let's do this. Let's do that. And she's like, no, there's just no point. So then there was one of the zombies in the RV the whole time, and they didn't know, and he kills the other guy. He flies off the cliff, and they land in the lake. Now, the lake seems awfully deep, but I don't know. It could be that deep. I don't know. And they basically, in the control room, they're like, yeah. They start bringing out tequila and beer, and they're so happy and everything. They're like, yeah, we did it. And the girl, it's kind of like this weird feeling, because the girl like gets out of the RV, and she's up fighting the main zombie, and they're like, oh, it doesn't even matter because she's a virgin, and the virgin was optional. As long as they're the last one left, we don't have to kill them. And it's just kind of this whole weird feeling, because it's like on the monitors, and they're all partying as she's getting beat by a zombie. And then they get a call on the red phone, and they're like, uh-oh. So turns out the stoner guy wasn't dead. So now they're like freaking out. They don't know what to do. And he's by this time, he's found a control panel, and he's found one of the cameras, and he kind of has an idea of what's going on. And he finds the elevator that goes down into like the shaft where the zombies came from, because they just like appear out of the ground, but they actually came through an elevator. And so what you find out is that all the artifacts in the basement area were actually, that was picking who was going to come. So all these monsters, and there's thousands of them, like just thousands of different monsters are in this underground system, and the elevator is just kind of like the see-through box, and they kind of go around through all the monsters, and they're in this like huge grid thing. And then eventually they get out, and they're kind of like in the control area, and they like come to stop them, but I don't even understand this part either. This doesn't really make sense to me. They find this other little control room, and it says purge. I think it says purge system. So they're like, let's do that. So they decide to purge the system, and purging the system lets all the monsters loose in the control area, which to me makes absolutely no sense. What purpose would there be for them to let all the monsters loose on themselves? Like, why? Why would you have that button? Like, I could see like a kill all monsters button, but why a button to let all the monsters free on the people who are holding them? It just doesn't make sense. So that part's pretty cool, though. You see tons of monsters come out and basically kill everyone except the two people who are supposed to be getting killed. And so then they find this room with like all these symbols and like a big platform and this huge hole, and out pops Sigourney Weaver for her cameo in the movie, and she basically tells them that they are like ancient gods who need sacrifices, and they're being punished basically, and that this is the way it's always been, and that if they don't kill the stoner guy, that the gods will come back and kill everyone, so he's going to die either way. So then the girl's like, all right, she picks up the gun, she's about to shoot him, and a werewolf bites her. That's right, a werewolf. So then he gets into a fight with Sigourney Weaver, and then the little girl zombie comes and stabs her in the head with an axe. Then he pushes them both off the side, and he picks up the gun and shoots the werewolf, and the werewolf just kind of runs away. And so then they're like, well, I guess this is the end of the world. Maybe this is just what the world needs. So I don't know if that was supposed to be just like a joke that he was so selfish he wasn't willing to die so everyone else could live, even though he's going to die anyways. Or that's kind of what it seemed like. But all you see at the end is this giant hand come out of the ground and just like smash the ground. And that's how it ends. I enjoyed this movie, but thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this spoiler review. All the rules will be in the description, but basically, please rate this video and leave a comment saying what you'd like to win. Here's what we have available. Another Stakeout on Blu-ray. Austin Powers Gold Member on DVD. Hollywood Homicide on DVD. And The Village on DVD. Now these are all used copies, but still a free movie. So if you want a free movie, see you next time.